What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Josh and John Luke. What's up, guys?
What up?
Yes, it was a good weekend.
Yes.
Tom Brady's back, guys. Tom Brady's back.
Guys, we got tons of news that happened this weekend and today, but we got a couple more intros first. Joining us on a mock draft Monday is Front Yard fam member Joey Wright. What's up, Joey?
Hey, I'm doing good. I found out because I'm a Bucs fan. I found out that Brady was coming back to the Bucs after I got off a roller coaster, which makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, the roller coaster
happened
in
yesterday.
itself.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow. It's symbolic. How beautiful that experience
very beautiful
was for you, Joey. Guys, also joining us today for Mock Draft Monday is great friend of the show, Alex, aka Peaked in High School. For those of you that do not know him, get with the program. You should know who this dude is. He is the guru of fantasy trades. He is a contributor over at The Athletic, and you can find him on Reddit at Peaked in High School, on Twitter at Peaked in High School _FF. And if you love his trade charts, you can go subscribe to his Patreon at Peaked in High School over there as well. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today, my man.
Oh, always. You guys have kept me away too long. I keep begging and begging. Finally. No, it's great. I'm excited to be here, guys. I'm breaking out of my vacation to spend an hour with you mock drafting. So I'm very excited.
Wow. So kind. So kind.
Alex, it has been too long since the season. We were doing those weekly trade streams. It's been since then, right?
Yeah, I think you guys were just tired of me, maybe. I don't know.
No. That
took it very personally.
Maybe. We thought you were tired with us. So, we just had a miscommunication here, you know?
Absolutely. Everyone, we just weren't sending the first text. We were just waiting on the other person to send the first text. Guys, we got some people in the chat ready for the mock draft Monday today. Scott Fish in here saying, I think it's important to note there is now an NFL player older than him again, and that is the biggest piece of news. Congratulations, Scott. There's an NFL
Johnny
player
Unitas
older
is
than
back.
you. Yeah, I think so. Johnny Unitas is back.
No.
Johnny Unitas is the name.
Because you're old, Scott.
Slow news day. I'm glad FYF is here to entertain us as always during the week. Yeah, not much going on at all today in the news. Not some quarterback signings, not some free agent drama, not some franchise tag drama, nothing.
Chase Edmonds is on the Dolphins.
We got Kaysen in here as well. What's up, Kaysen? Welcome in. And Kev, what's up? Welcome in. Bird up. Jordan, glad to have you here. And Mr. Scamper said, I vomited after my last roller coaster ride too, Joey. Joey's a Bucs fan. I don't think he vomited at that news, unless you have a weird, happy reaction that makes you vomit.
Excited vomits.
That's exactly what happened.
Swamp, what's up? Welcome in, but he's at work.
Swampy.
Man, we got to contact Jimmy Johns. I'm telling you, I say it all the time, but we gotta let Jimmy Johns know to give this man a break.
Give me some of them hot pepper swamp when you get a chance.
NBA, welcome in. Glad to have you here. And Jordan, glad to have you here as well. Guys, before we get started with today's mock draft, a couple reminders. Number one, if you are not doing so already, go follow our guest Alex on Twitter at Peaked in High School _FF. Or it is Peaked in HS on Twitter. So Peaked with a K in HS _FF. Make sure you go follow him. Alex, like I said, is the guru of fantasy trades. He compiles the most comprehensive trade charts I've seen in the industry that take sources from all over and gives you a good idea of where to start on trade value. So if you aren't following him, you are missing out. After you do that, if you're watching this video already, that means you are on our YouTube or Twitch channels. If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Josh's beautiful face is on there all the time, and you want every opportunity to see that when it's not behind a paywall. If you guys can get some free Josh, too. Yeah, his face smells fantastic. The rest of the channel, not so much. I apologize for the scent of the JL videos.
Yeah. Gotta deal with it. It's worth it that they get to the Josh videos. So
yeah,
I'm gonna get deodorant one of these days.
One more reminder: the orchestrator of our March Madness tournament is on here right now.
Yes,
Joey Wright was the one who put it together. Because if you have not done so already, make sure you join our March Madness bracket pool right now. All you have to do is follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and join our Discord and look for the information in the March Madness channel. If you win, you will win an autographed NFL player jersey, a Front Yard Fantasy hat, and your choice of a guest spot on a fun Friday episode where you can come on and show us who's boss on stream, or a 30-minute draft consultation with your favorite member of FYF. There are prizes for 2nd through 5th place as well, all listed there in the Discord channel. So if you guys go in there, check it out, join, and make sure you get in on the action. This is my year. I can feel it. I haven't predicted well. I've been in like the bottom 20% of brackets 5 years in a row, but this is the year. I'm coming for you guys.
Yeah,
And
no one out there is getting a better bracket than me. I'm going to beat everyone. So, I mean, good try. You could try, but it's not happening. Not this year.
You're just going to Skype yourself? Yeah.
I will. I'll be like, what do you think? Yeah, you too? All right, let's do it.
What's up, JR? Welcome in. And Jordan, happy pie. How did I forget it was Pie Day? Happy Pie Day, everybody.
Oh,
And NBA
3.14.
I get it.
So wait, round one. Are we drafting pies? What's everyone's go-to pie?
Yes.
Oh, favorite pie. Everyone, rapid fire
They're
favorite
just
pie.
fine.
Go.
Jonathan Pie.
What?
Apple.
Blackberry. What?
I want to draft
Blackberry.
Jonathan.
Alex, I am with you. Blackberry pie is the 101 of pies.
Apple
it is
pie
the
is
best
better than
pie.
Blackberry.
Joey,
Let's get
where's
the
your
votes,
favorite
yeah.
pie?
My favorite pie is the 1998 film by Darren Aronofsky.
Oh,
Pie.
such a good pie.
But
Such a
American
good pie.
pie, is it really going to be
Also
American
apple
pie?
crumb. Apple crumb.
Oh, it beats American pie.
Yeah, that's good.
I've never seen pie.
One and done said pizza pie. Yeah, that's a
Pizza
pretty good pie as well.
One and
J-Lo,
done, actually.
that is the
won.
worst
better
take
than
you've
all
ever
pies.
had. That pumpkin pie
pumpkin
is
pie's
the
good.
best pie. But
Pumpkin
the
pie's
best
good.
pie,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
I
hard for me
do
to put
like
as the
pumpkin
best one.
pie.
I love a good pumpkin with some nice homemade whipped cream on top.
Mhm.
I'll eat the
Now we
whipped cream.
talking.
Someone else can have the pie. Guys, today we have a mock draft on this
Hold on.
Monday.
Mr.
What?
Scamper's got into the shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
I
There's
know
hair
you
all over
hate
it.
it. I'm sure you
Disgusting.
hate it,
There's hair
JL. You absolutely
everywhere.
hate the shepherd's
Oh,
pie.
I would not want any shepherd's pie. You can have it. Mr.
I like a
Scamper's.
good shepherd's pie. Chicken, some pup pie, you know.
Do they make vegetarian shepherd's pie? Probably not.
Probably not. I think it's kind of based on it having
Kind
meat
of.
in it.
Guys,
You do it with like
today-
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Mushrooms?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
maybe,
sounds
maybe.
delicious. That
Yeah.
sounds fantastic.
Mushroom pie.
Guys, today we have a mock draft. We are doing a Dynasty SuperFlex PPR startup draft today. So Dynasty, just break down what this means for you guys. Dynasty, you're keeping these players forever. So you got to take into account some different factors that maybe you wouldn't in redraft. SuperFlex means you can start up to 2 quarterbacks. So the value of quarterbacks definitely goes up in leagues like this. And then PPR, that's point per reception. Most of you guys are familiar with playing in PPR leagues. We've got a full house of people drafting with us today. Josh drafting from the 2 spot.
Mhm.
Joey drafting from the 4 spot. Oh, and I skipped right over you, Alex. Alex drafting from the 3. We got back to back right there at the 2, 3, 4. And then JL rounding out the first round at the 12 spot. So JL is going to be drafting from the 12 spot today. Are you
I
guys
can't
ready
wait to
get this
snipe
going?
Alex. I'm gonna be sniping you left and right, Alex.
Snipping and sniping.
Yeah. I like that Craig said you can't spell peaked in high school without pie. You
Yeah.
can't.
I guess.
1
Sure, you
second.
I mean, like
guys.
the letters are in there.
Quite the reach, Craig. Quite the reach.
Quite the reach.
Is my button to start the draft hasn't shown up, and I don't know why.
Are you logged into the right account?
I am. I checked right.
Are you
before
on the
this,
right
but
website?
I can double confirm after this. Yeah, this is Sleeper. I see all of your names in there.
You're gonna do it after this?
But Simon, you're not in the draft.
What'd you
I want
say?
you to
I
do
know,
it.
but I've started the draft
Oh,
before.
there might be some issues
from
with
here.
you like joining and then leaving, maybe.
Let's see. I'll get this figured out. While we get this figured out, it's just going to say, do you have to hate mushrooms to work at FYF or what? I love the idea
just naturally
of
happen.
mushrooms.
I thought you said I love the idea of me
Oh, Jay
having
made the
that
draft.
having that qualification to work here.
Jay, go start the draft.
I will be right back after I figure this out. One moment, guys.
Yeah, no problem. No
So
problem.
is that
Hi,
like a
Simon.
thing, the mushrooms with FYF?
I don't know.
Because you guys all know something
be
about
now.
me and mushrooms.
Wait,
do you like
I'm confused.
mushrooms?
What
I'm allergic to mushrooms. I get like
I didn't even know
violently
that
ill
was
if
a
I eat
thing.
them.
Violently ill? Will you die?
Like I like puke. It's gross. Like I just
Well,
go
you do that all
roll.
the time, so that's fine.
I do.
So
I
so
gotta
I understand that there's these mushrooms that like cause like people to hallucinate. What would happen if you
Haven't
ended up
heard of
taking
those.
those? I wonder.
I would vomit rainbows.
Okay. I'm just interested. I'm not saying I've taken them or anything before, but I'm just wondering if that would get
Sounds
weird.
delightfully
Was that
unpleasant.
Simon that just laughed?
Simon giggle because he's still in his
Simon's behind the
dream.
scenes.
Simon's like,
He can't help himself. We got a question here from SJ Douglas asking, would you guys do CD Lamb for Terry McLaurin, 108, Jacoby Myers, and a 2023 mid-second? I'm making a push for this year. Alex, why don't we start with you, Mr. Trade Guru?
I mean, if I'm
is it a
I'm pushing-
SuperFlex league?
Yeah, that's a good question.
because it's just going to raise the value of those draft picks a little bit.
He said he needs
That is a good
depth as his
question.
next question or next comment, but
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you guys feel about Terry with Wentz? I guess that's your starting point. How out on Wentz are you?
Value
It's better
up for
than
me
Heineke.
with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, it's better
Yeah.
than Heineke. It's not fantastic.
Yeah, like it's fine. You're moving from potentially a high wide receiver 1 down to mid wide receiver 2 is what we're hoping, right? And then
Unless you're Simon, I think you're hoping for mid wide receiver 1, actually.
he says not super flex, but 2 flexes. So that 108, I don't love 108 not in super flex, but 20 mid second. I'm probably not doing this if I'm making a push this year. I'm probably not going to sell off my stud wide receiver 1 for that. I don't think it's enough value on that side to make me want to make that move. I don't think it's going to help you this year. What about you, Josh?
When I look at this trade, I think the value is there, right? I think the value is there. And if it was a super flex league, it would make me maybe lean towards that Terry McLaurin side. I think in a super flex league, I'm taking the Terry McLaurin side, but in a non-super flex league, I love CeeDee Lamb. I'm higher on CeeDee Lamb than most. And I think now without Amari Cooper, he's going to have a hell of a year coming up. So I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could make this trade. The 2023 second doesn't do a lot. Jacoby Myers doesn't do a lot. The 108's nice, even in a non-super flex league, but it's not enough.
I understand the need for depth. I would try and like consolidate some of these pieces. If you legitimately want to explore this trade, I would go in and see if you can, instead of Jacoby Myers in like the 2023 second, see if you can get a decent asset back. But I'm with Josh otherwise.
Guys, we are going to go ahead and get this draft started. Make sure we have
All right.
time. We can keep taking questions throughout, answering your trade questions, talking about the news going on, but I'm going to go ahead and start this draft. Swamp has the first pick. Hopefully he gets here in time to make it. And Sam saying, is that an easy no if you swap Clyde for Terry? Because technically that is what's on the table.
Yeah. It's an easy
Definitely
no.
a no.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, like I said before, though, with Terry in there, it's an even trade. It's a good trade. There's good value over there, but I couldn't do it.
And Swamp says, on that note, would y'all rather have Scary Terry or Pittman, let's say PPR redraft? So in a redraft league, Pittman or Terry McLaurin?
Oh, we don't know who Pittman's quarterback is.
Yeah.
It would be Terry McLaurin for me, but they're not incredibly far apart. I bet they are for Simon. we got to see who Pittman's quarterback is, but I would definitely draft Terry before Pittman in a dynasty startup.
I would as well. I think best case scenario for Terry McLaurin's quarterback is probably Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like that's
Pittman?
Pittman, yeah. Sorry, for Pittman's quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. Like that's the best we can hope for there, and that's not enough of like a QB upgrade over Carson Wentz to Terry to make me move Pittman ahead of him. Like because take the quarterbacks out, I've got Terry ahead. Jimmy's not going to move that needle. Alex, what do you think on this one?
What if it's Derek Carr throwing to Pittman? What if they make that trade?
I almost said Derek Carr could be a possibility, but is it really that much? He's going to throw it. He's going to air it out more than Jimmy Garoppolo would. He's less of a game manager. He's willing to air the ball out a little bit more. So I think that does help the fantasy options. So Derek Carr might be the best option. But even if that's the case, it makes Pittman closer to Terry, but I'm still probably drafting Terry ahead of him.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Derek Carr definitely raises him more than Jimmy, though. I agree with that, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And a reminder to everybody, I saw some questions in the chat. If you guys want first dibs at joining some of these mock drafts, join our Discord. It's the same thing you got to do to enter our March Madness tournament. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. Join our Discord. You'll get the link to the mock draft first. And if it doesn't fill up, then we put it on the stream. But that doesn't happen very often anymore. So if you guys join our Discord, that's where we're going to be posting it. And we are flying through this first round.
We are.
6 of the first 7 picks were quarterbacks.
Oh, the pick that just went off the board is
wild.
It's not wild at this. I mean, it's surprising, but just because I forgot almost,
Carolina rumors are flying left and right.
It makes sense at this point. If he's it's just going to be a suspension. If he's going to play, he's young, talented. Take all of the stuff that we don't have to talk, like the other information out of it. If he's going to play football, he's got value in a dynasty league at this point as a super talented young quarterback. So first round is still a little early for me, but yeah, I can't fault you for making that pick. Jay said, why does Simon want to kill birds? Only chickens for the most part. Yeah, chickens are pretty exclusively the birds I want to kill.
With Deshaun Watson, like, now that the criminal charges are officially not going to be happening, there will be no criminal charges. I mean, if Deshaun Watson's on a team in a decent situation and 100% playing next year, if I'm just talking about talent on the field and what I've seen in the past, just from a talent perspective, Deshaun Watson belongs in the tier with Kyler Murray, in my opinion.
Is Carolina a good situation? You said that specifically, or how's that
I think
feel
it is.
versus...
I think it is a good situation. I think they've got some good weapons. I think it's a good situation for fantasy. I think he's going to score a lot of fantasy points if he winds up on Carolina.
I agree with you there. And then, Joey, I did have a question for you. So you took Joe Burrow there at the 1-4, kind of after Mahomes, Allen, Herbert. I've seen varying ranges for where the guys like Jonathan Taylor go in the SuperFlex startup drafts. Did you have any consideration for a non-quarterback there at the 4 spot, or were you targeting
Taylor would have been my pick if not for Burrow, but if I'm drafting in the first, let's say 6 spots, and I can get Burrow, I love him next year going into it. Even though they have the read on him. I mean, the weapons around him. I'm looking forward to Joe Burrow next year a lot.
It's hard to argue with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase as your 2 primary weapons in that offense. It's definitely hard to argue with that. But Joey, that makes sense. Josh, I started with Joey, but I wanted to ask you as well. You took Patrick Mahomes second.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you draft Jonathan Taylor early in a SuperFlex league or one of these wide receivers in some of these mocks we've done. Did you have any consideration there? Is this pretty much like if you have one of these top 2 spots, you're going to grab one of these quarterbacks in a real startup?
And I think when I did draft Jonathan Taylor early in a SuperFlex league, it was more of like an experiment, right? I have Jonathan Taylor ranked lower than most people in a SuperFlex league. It'd really technically be the top 6 quarterbacks that got drafted off the board, the 2 wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and then Jonathan Taylor has how I classically have ranked those guys. So Patrick Mahomes was the pick. It's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. They're the top 2 guys in a SuperFlex league. I throw Justin Herbert kind of into that tier, so I love the pick that Alex made there. I just think they should be the top 3 picks in a SuperFlex league. Now, the 4th pick, if you want to take Jonathan Taylor there, so be it. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. If you want to take Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, go for it. If you want to take Joe Burrow, that's probably who I would pick. So I like how this draft has gone so far.
Alex, is that who you were targeting there at 4 or at 3? Herbert?
Yeah, at 3. I was ecstatic to get Herbert, but I mean, Allen and Mahomes were absolutely going to go 1 and 2, right? So it was Herbert. If I was 4, I probably would have taken JT the same way Josh was saying, or maybe Jefferson or Chase, depending on how froggy I'm feeling. If I'm not feeling running back that day, but I was very happy to get Herbert.
Yeah, and JL, you're the only one of the bunch on camera who does not have a quarterback through not just the first round, but the first 2 rounds now. You went Najee Harris and CeeDee Lamb. I know you are comfortable waiting on quarterback. Are you comfortable here waiting again, even sitting here on the turn?
I mean, it wasn't by choice, I would say. Like, there's no one left in this tier of quarterbacks. I'm not going to take Trey Lance at the 2-1 or the 112. So it was more about just the value that fell to me.
Yeah, we've seen people pick like Trevor Lawrence there, or one of those other guys, but I think that's a little too early, right, JL?
Yeah. I would just want to wait a bit. I'm not going to reach for those guys. Sometimes you have to. I just decided not to and see where it went. I don't like to wait on quarterback in SuperFlex. That's not something I do, but in 1 QB leagues, I do for sure.
Yeah, we could all really
like the Jags just signed Kirk, guys.
I know. Yeah, Brady said they're giving him 20 million.
That's crazy.
Where did Kirk go?
I don't like this for.
Well, it was really nice having you and Fantasy Football Christian Kirk.
I thought Kirk to the Giants made so much sense. Like I thought that would have been a great signing for them at receiver. Just the way he plays, I feel like complemented that team well. But man, the Jags, I feel like this is the worst case scenario for him and the other receivers on that offense. Oof,
I guess when you look at it, like there's a world where he's the number 1 wide receiver for them. I'm not like super excited for the Jaguars, but if we're expecting Trevor Lawrence to take the next step, maybe it is good for him.
Yeah, this is good for Trevor Lawrence. That's about the only person it's good for, in my opinion.
Again, I'm just saying, like Kirk might be the number 1 now. Like, there's not a lot of situations where he comes in as automatically the number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, and here it's still not automatic, but there's a chance he could.
Yeah. You're right.
For sure.
You're right. Yeah.
And Mr. Scampers, and you're saying the Giants don't need any more weapons. They need to sell the team. Yeah, that would be a great option as well. Maybe sell the team and then sign Christian Kirk would have been my preferred method. Man, Joey and Alex both going with similar team builds so far here through the second round. Joey grabbing AJ Brown, who I know is a lot of people's dynasty wide receiver 1 heading into this season. Where do you have him ranked as a dynasty receiver now?
I have him ranked as my dynasty wide receiver 3.
3.
So I was happy to get
Jefferson
him
and Chase.
Yeah, I was happy to get him as my 5th one.
Yeah, and
actually, you know what? I would move him down to 4th after Cooper just went to Cleveland, and I would put Lamb 3rd. Sorry.
Yeah,
I just made that. I made that switch live on air.
Wow.
You're welcome for that.
A peek into the
reaction
mind.
moment. Yeah.
And Alex, Tyreek Hill is your first wide receiver. He's a little bit older than some of the bunch that we saw go previously, but still young for a receiver. Are you concerned about age at all with a receiver like Tyreek Hill in Dynasty?
No. Oh, I mean, I wanted AJ Brown, and I'm tilting my face off right now because he. So it was 100%.
I mean, honestly, Joey, great pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty angry about it. What I'm doing is I'm just transitioning into a team at this point with Tyreek Hill where I'm going to try and win this year effectively, right? Like, so I'm looking at some older players, people like Austin Eckler.
Well, now I'm tilting.
Oh man, we're gonna be fighting with each other now, Alex, because I also made that decision that I am gonna go for the championship year 1, pretty much. If you take a look at my team, so
Josh. Cooper Kupp. I think that pick kind of speaks for itself. He's elevated himself in redraft and dynasty rankings with the connection we saw with Matthew Stafford. But Devonte Adams, we saw some news come out that he is refusing to play on the franchise tag. Do you have any concerns that Devonte Adams, who's an older wide receiver compared to some of these guys, won't play this coming year?
If I'm being completely honest, if I was doing a dynasty startup draft right now, I would be terrified to take Devonte Adams right here. I'd be scared. You know, I want him paired up with Aaron Rodgers as long as possible. So, you know, I made this decision. I want to see what this team looks like. I'm going to go for a win now team. I want to see what it looks like. I know Devonte Adams, he's going to be killing it next year. He's going to be out there on the field. There's not going to be a holdout. He can't do that at this point in his career. He's going to be playing with Aaron Rodgers for at least one more year. I don't know why I have faith in the Packers all of a sudden to do the right thing, but I feel like they're going to sign him up somehow. They're going to get him a contract, pair him with Aaron Rodgers, because that's going to keep Aaron Rodgers happy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joey let's say Joey really wants Devonte Adams. What would you send in your league right now for him? Would you send the 101 rookie draft? Like what value?
I'm taking Devonte Adams already with this team build over the 101. There's no way I could make that trade now that I've kind of decided that I'm going to try to win year 1. I mean, like, you got to stay fluid, right? You got to make sure, like, during the season, if the team's not looking like that, you got to readjust. But at this point, I would not take the 101 for Devonte Adams at all.
So, Josh, let's say this is a real league. You find out today Patrick Mahomes and Cooper Kupp decide to retire to start their own cooking show.
I got to get Devonte Adams out of here.
Would you then trade him for the 101?
I'd consider it. I'd try first to get more. And if the market's not there, you know, I'd be tapping on the door of the guy with the 102 pick, the 103, and trying to get that plus.
You physically go to their house?
Let me get it. That's how you get deals done, JL.
Josh,
like, if you really want to get a deal done, show up to their house. Like,
and I like that he's going to knock. He's not going to ring the doorbell. He's going to knock on the door.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's personal. It's personal. That
very aggressive.
Yes. The only problem with this, what we're talking about, is the team with the 101, 102, 103 typically isn't very good, right?
And so, security systems.
Are they going to be going? Are they going to be going for Devonte Adams? I don't know, but you know. There's always differences. There's trades happening throughout the year. Maybe you traded the 2023 first 2 years ago, and you are a good team now, and blah, blah, blah.
Yep, 100%. Guys, I think team 6 and 7 here, Arsenal, and then my cousin Jameson, they're building very similar team builds through the first 2 rounds or 3 rounds right here. They've got their kind of stud quarterback. I think team 7, JMO Infinite, has Kyler Murray, the young guy, one of those top 6 guys, and then Matthew Stafford for the other team. But Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, then Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry. That seems like pretty comparable running back cores. And what I'm realizing looking here is, like, while I'm usually a running back late kind of guy, in these Dynasty SuperFlex leagues, Derrick Henry in the back half of the 3rd round, man, that's a value. Like, I just can't imagine him not getting the volume that he's gotten the past couple of years. Like, if you're going for a win now team, Derrick Henry in the 3rd, like the back end of the 3rd, seems Seems great to me. Josh, I see you making faces there. What do you think about that value?
I just know I did a Dynasty startup, and I got Derrick Henry in the 6th.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it's a SuperFlex tight end premium league, so it pushed up the value for tight ends. It pushed up the value for quarterbacks a lot. And when you're in these actual leagues that are going to be competed out, a lot of people don't want to be stuck holding the bag, aka the Derrick Henry bag. Like, he has a bad season this next year, his value goes. No one's going to want to trade for him, realistically, unless someone's trying to give him away. So, he's just getting old, and I think that's the problem there. But Derrick Henry next year, he's going to be a top 3 running back for me.
Yep, I'm with you. And if you're in win now mode in Dynasty, then that's good enough for you. Pretty much not surefire, but if he plays all 17 games, it's hard to imagine him not being a top 3 back. With the volume that he gets over there. JL, absolutely. That was a very JL turn, and a quarterback that was mentioned as someone that sometimes goes in the first round. You got in the third round. Are you happy with that Trevor Lawrence value?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I think this is where he'll most likely be going in most SuperFlex startups drafts. We still have some other comparable quarterbacks on the board, but between him and Trey Lance, I think they're pretty similarly valued in a solid round and almost a half difference between them here.
Yeah, I would take Trevor Lawrence at the 312 over Trey Lance at the 25, 100%. Yeah. Alex, do you think this gap is indicative of how they're actually viewed, or do you think maybe this is a little bit different, Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence?
That's a good Justin Fields pick.
Oh, sorry, you cut out for a sec. Say that one more time. Sorry,
you're good. I said, do you think this gap, like this round and a half gap, and where they're being drafted, Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence here in this draft, is indicative of the public perception of these players, or is this maybe a little bit further apart than we'll usually see them go?
I expect we'll see them go closer together. I really, are you in your homies from high school league, or are you in a sharp analyst league? That's probably the difference, right? I'm definitely not saying we're sharp. I actually can't stress that enough, but we're probably somewhere in the middle.
Or
right?
Are your homies from high school also very sharp?
Yeah,
could be true.
Doubt it.
I cannot vouch for mine.
Oh, me neither. They take Justin Tucker first overall every year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think an auto draft team has won 8 of the last 10 times on my home league. Like, they just keep on winning out.
And they drafted 4 tight ends
every year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 3 quarterbacks, 4 tight ends. They've their first wide receiver was someone who was suspended for the year, but was still in the auto draftable players, and somehow they pull out the W. They get that number 1 waiver priority, use it. Yeah, that's sharp right there. If that's not sharp, I don't know what is. Arsenal on the clock now. Oh, and yet again, these teams, I'm curious to see how these 2 teams develop. I'm comparing them head to head now as these teams fill out, especially the first 4 picks. They're near identical teams. Josh, which one of those 2 teams would you take right now if you had to take ownership of one, 6 or 7?
So I personally have Chris Godwin ranked ahead of Deontay Johnson for Dynasty. Kyler Murray, obviously, well ahead of Matthew Stafford. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor of Joe Mixon and Christian McCaffrey ahead of Derrick Henry. They're pretty freaking even when it comes down to it. They're pretty freaking even. I like having a stud quarterback in SuperFlex. And while Matthew Stafford is a stud quarterback, I hate the last 3. I got sniped. The 1 3. Hold on. I'm tilting. Hold on.
You can pick back up after you tilt and make your pick.
I literally would have drafted all 3 of these guys. This is ridiculous.
Chubb is a great value.
I wanted Chubb so bad. I'm angry as well.
Yeah, nice pick, Joe.
Well, I got Chubb.
Yes, you did.
How does that make you feel, Joey?
Yeah. Happy.
Happy?
Yeah.
Joey, were you considering Breece Hall there? Because we're seeing these rookies sneak up the board. If both of those guys were there, would you have taken Breece or would you have taken Chubb?
I would have taken Chubb. I am notorious for making the wrong rookie decision before the NFL draft. Looking at my history personally in fantasy. So I tend to lean towards what I know. If Chubb had been taken, I would have thought about Hall. Oh, McLaurin just went. Josh, just so you know, I just tilted a little bit. So it gives you any comfort.
I wanted Hall, Chubb, or Kelsey.
Oh,
I was like, one of them's gonna come.
I'm just gonna
didn't
quit this draft
now. Yeah.
Okay, now draft my other favorite receivers. There's 2 more, and if we just draft those 2 guys right here, it'll be all 4 of my favorite guys right next to each other.
No one wants Amari Cooper anymore, Simon.
Hey.
I'm joking.
Oh, so I got one.
Kidding.
I have Amari Cooper in a league, and a guy sent me Kadarius Toney straight up for him. Would you
Hell
do
no.
that trade?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I kept Cooper.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Cooper on the Browns over Kadarius Toney over there on the Giants. Give me Cooper on the Browns over Kadarius Toney on the Browns as well. Like I think I like Cooper better. We've seen more from him. Though we saw those flashes from Toney, not enough for me to trade an asset like Cooper over there. David Montgomery. Man, there's been some pretty good running back value in this draft so far. I'm loving the running back value on some of these guys. Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, David Montgomery, and Josh Bacon, Mr. Cam Akers. He came back from injury way sooner than people thought he would, but was a little bit disappointing in the playoffs. Are you worried about him at all next year?
I am, man. But I mean, that's the reason he fell to the 5-2. I think before he was disappointing, and like we were doing like some mock drafts before he was like uberly disappointing throughout the playoffs. I think he was getting drafted ahead of J.K. Dobbins pretty much everywhere. Like going as early as the second round, we saw him quite a few times. I think I'm getting kind of the discount because of that right here. He's still a young running back, and he proved he can go out there. And I think he also the team showed that they have faith in him when he goes out there. So still young. I like the pick. And I thought about Saquon and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think Saquon keeps on falling. Jail, I know you've been tooting the horn for Saquon and Christian McCaffrey still being some top-level dynasty players. Are you still standing by that, even with maybe some of the trade rumors going around?
Absolutely, yeah. It definitely does not change anything. If anything, it makes it better. I mean, I think the only thing really limiting Saquon apart from his injuries is his team. So if he's on a new team, then I think that's just another opportunity for him to actually come back and perform. Both the Saquon Barkley and the Jalen Hurts picks were fantastic. I was surprised both those guys were still there.
I agree with that. And Joey locked up his second quarterback fairly early. Joey, is this how you tend to draft in these SuperFlex leagues, or is this a unique scenario for you where the value just screamed?
So this is a unique scenario for me. The Kyle Pitts pick was something I wanted to experiment with. And so I took Kyle Pitts in the third. That's normally probably where I would take in a SuperFlex. I would take 2 out of 3 first picks would be quarterbacks. So I'm happy to get Hurts in the 5th, but I would have much rather had McLaurin or DJ Moore, who was in my queue.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you and Alex both sitting here with only one wide receiver so far through 5 rounds. Alex, are you concerned about your wide receiver depth at all, or do you like the middle round wide receivers for Dynasty?
Do we start more than one wide receiver in this league? I didn't check that.
3.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so you're going to start 3 wide receivers in this league.
I messed that one up. Yeah, no, I think I think having one good wide receiver is how I like to play. So, Cup, the Diggs, those people. And then wide receiver 2s and 3s, there's just so many. Every team has startable. It just drops off so fast. So, I'm going to be fine finding plenty to start. And then I think it'll be okay. I like those middle round or a little bit later.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if you need an illustration of what Alex is saying, I did this the other day just out of curiosity. Just pull up the leaders from last season and go by position and look at number 50 for the wide receivers, and then go look at number 50 for the running backs. Okay, and there's going to be like an 80-point difference in those two guys. The wide receivers have depth that lasts a little bit longer in points scored. Now there is some variance with these middle round wide receivers that you have to put up with, but you can find better production from wide receivers in these middle rounds for sure. And Ryan said, "Don't judge me." Oh, we're judging. We're judging so hard.
I'm assuming he's the 11th.
Yeah, Crawdads 87. That would make sense over there. Oh, I'm judging everything.
I got it from Crawford, Crawdads. You know.
That's a team. I mean, how do you feel about it? 3 running backs that are all. I mean, 2 are old, right? One's not. But I mean, that's something.
I'd rather judge it after this turn. I think.
Josh,
I was
going to say the same exact thing. I want to see what these wide receivers look like a little bit.
Yeah. He doesn't have to take a wide receiver here, but we'll see. We'll see where he goes.
Jay saying, thanks for making the case for early RB, Simon. Hey, I'm a believer that there's a lot of different draft strategies that can work, and early RB is one of them. I like drafting 0 RB. That doesn't mean that I hate early RB or robust RB either in these drafts. Also, MTG in here saying must be -2 tight end premium for Pitts to fall to the 3rd round. So
every catch he gets, you get -2 points.
That would be interesting if we did a -1 PPR league. So some of these PPR guys wouldn't.
Might as well just be
Derrick Henry.
Man. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Completely changed the running back landscape, and then wide receivers as well. These like heavy catch guys wouldn't be nearly as valuable.
Seriously, Derrick Henry.
Was that the
Jonathan
first?
Taylor?
Was that the first rookie wide receiver off the board?
I believe so.
Garrett Wilson.
It was Garrett. I love Garrett
Fascinating.
Wilson. Yeah.
Josh, do you think it's reasonable to have him as the first rookie wide receiver drafted?
Absolutely. Absolutely. For me, it's Treylon Burks, and then it would be Garrett Wilson as number 2. So, and then honestly, like, I think they're all close. Like, I feel like a lot of people out there do have Burks like as the number 1, but I really think they're so close. The top 3 guys, the top 4 guys are really 5 guys. The top 5 guys are all pretty good. And situation and draft capital is going to really matter in this case.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Wilson and Burks. For me, it's like, okay, who ends up in the better position? Because that's how close they are.
Alex, I heard you say it was interesting Wilson going first. What do you think about that pick?
Yeah, I would have went Burks, but I wouldn't have done either of them yet for where we are, just because we don't know their location. So I don't know. That makes me hedge lower. If it was like, let's say, just the 101 or 102 pick, I would be more interested because I like flexibility. But when I have to pick a player who's not on a team, I hedge lower for sure. Like if you're doing your startup now and you have to pick them, I wouldn't be into them until, let's see, probably mid 6th or so on those rookies.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you, Alex, on that one. That doesn't mean it's wrong. I just don't have that risk tolerance necessarily. So I've said this on previous streams, but that means I have to be comfortable with missing out on some of these rookies in these startups because of that lack of risk tolerance for where they're going to end up. Vincent, Cam Akers, number 1 fan, has a question for us. Michael Pittman or
I got
Elijah
you,
Mitchell
Vincent.
as a
I got
trade
you, bro.
straight up. What you got, Josh?
I drafted Cam Akers.
Oh,
so,
well, now you got to get him on his question too. Michael Pittman or Elijah Mitchell as a trade straight up. Who are you taking?
I think Michael Pittman is my preferred player straight up in Dynasty when it comes down to it. But, you know, Michael Pittman doesn't have a quarterback right now. Elijah Mitchell looks like he's the number 1 running back for a awesome run first team. They're very close at this point. Until further notice, without Michael Pittman having anyone at quarterback, I'm nervous for Michael Pittman a little bit, especially for next season. All in all, like from a Dynasty perspective, I would take Michael Pittman, but if you're trying to win, you need running back depth, I'll take Elijah Mitchell. So they're very close.
Joey just got sniped.
Jerry
But
Jeudy and Michael
distract
Pittman.
him
Which one?
Jerry Jeudy.
Judy.
For me. Joey, to distract you from you just getting sniped, the emotional turmoil of one of your players getting taken, would you take Pittman or Elijah Mitchell straight up in Dynasty?
Pittman. I don't trust. Yeah, never mind. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Josh, I think I agree very much with you. Like, this is close enough that it becomes a little bit team dependent. In a vacuum, I take Pittman, but if I am a running back away, that is close enough in value that I would make that trade.
If I saw a trade like that go through in my league, I'd be like, nice.
Checks out.
According to
Win-win.
DLF, according to DLF, Michael Pittman's ADP is 43. Elijah Mitchell's is 47.
Wow.
Basically
Oh,
going back to back.
Yeah, they're going right there in drafts. JL, you grabbed Aaron Jones here at the beginning of the 6th round, I believe before A.J. Dillon went off the board in a Dynasty league. What makes you take Aaron Jones over A.J. Dillon?
He's the one.
He's the one? And you see that staying that way going forward? I know we've seen a lot of debate about it this offseason.
At least for the next year or two. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they gave him a big contract. I don't see why they wouldn't use him.
Yeah. Would anybody here be taking Dillon before Jones in a Dynasty format? I saw a couple mouths open, like they were about to say yes, and then Josh and Joey both just.
I don't want to talk.
Wouldn't want to take. We talked about it before. I'm
Yeah,
just
we
probably
talked about
like waiting on both. Like they both scare me. In a lot of ways. Aaron Jones, I think is more talented. I think is the better running back, but he's getting kind of old, so that scares you in Dynasty. AJ Dillon, he's young and big, and people love his thighs. So that's exciting. I don't know.
It's exciting.
Oh, thank God. Okay, now I can talk about it.
He said that's exciting. They love his
That's
thighs.
exciting. I mean, Joey took AJ Dillon. There we go.
But I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want someone taking them.
Oops, sorry.
No, it's fine. This is great. When JL took Aaron Jones, I was like, okay, I'm going to take Dylan. That was my plan. My plan going into drafts is to take the Green Bay running back that goes second, because I like them both for the roles they have. I mean, Dylan out-carried Jones last year. That alone, like, okay. I didn't think that was going to happen. If I had to take one or the other, I would probably take Jones in PPR and Dylan in standard. But who plays standard? Really? Come on, people.
That makes sense. I think that highlights how close these guys are. And JL, I was just looking at your team. I'm really liking the way it's shaping up so far,
JL's
especially those
really
wide
good.
receivers. CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Treylon Burks to start out. That's looking pretty nice. And then you still have one of the top young quarterbacks, lots of promise, but some question marks. It might be my favorite team so far, JL. And I feel like usually we got some different draft philosophies or strategies, but I'm really liking this one.
Thanks, man.
Now, what are you doing next? Don't ruin it.
You'll see.
Oh, Josh.
Amari Cooper.
That's my love language, drafting Darren Waller.
Yeah. I told you I'm building a team that's going to win the championship next year. So watch out, boys. Watch out, guys. Watch
So
out.
Josh,
It's going to be devastating for you when I beat you.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely devastating.
Josh,
Really
if this
fortunate,
wasn't a win now team, like if you didn't kind of go that route at the beginning, would you have taken Darren Waller over guys like TJ Hawkinson?
I would have taken TJ Hawkinson ahead.
Okay.
I actually technically had TJ Hawkinson ranked ahead, but literally back to back in my rankings. I think they're extremely close. And the fact that I'm going for the win next year, I think he's going to score more points next year. I took Darren Waller.
Any concerns about a reduced role in this offense, maybe with the breakout of Hunter Renfrow, or does that kind of give you some assurance that they are going to continue to target Waller heavily with the way they used Renfrow while Waller was out?
As long as Derek Carr's there, which is not a guarantee by any means at this point. As long as he's there, though, I think Darren Waller's going to have a hell of a year.
You know whose team I absolutely love? Swamp's team.
God, the running back value he just got on that turn. Holy cow.
He played this perfectly.
I thought about TQZ.
I love this dynasty strategy with the top, or especially SuperFlex. You get that QB, lock that in, and then he just focused wide receivers, 3 really high talented wide receivers, followed by 3 running backs who are going to be able to stop. I was going to say stop the gap, but I don't think that's how you use that. They're going to be a stopgap for the next couple of years. They're going to be very serviceable and allow him to get younger talent in there as he goes. I think this is played perfectly, Swamp.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott and James Conner on the turn right there was just beautiful. Zeke's a monster, and when he's healthy, he's going to be out on the field like he's still a monster running back. And then James Conner, there's some good news for him with Chase Edmonds signing in Miami. So
James Conner re-signed.
So now there's a very real chance they bring in another back either through the draft or free agency. But there's no guarantee that they fill that Chase Edmonds role. I think James Conner's role is safe and likely to maybe even grow a little bit.
Chase Edmonds. James Conner, honestly, in redraft next year, I'm all in. If he's healthy all year, he's going to be a top 10 back. I'm positive, actually.
Yeah.
Alex,
I think he proved a lot in the passing game too, like when Chase Edmonds.
James Conner? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that pick. And Alex, you were talking about rookies were a little bit too early whenever Wilson went. And the last 2 picks were some rookies. Tell me a little bit about the thought process for Malik Willis and Drake London right there.
I felt like it was time to, I think there are people that are players that are going to contribute this year as well. But I think Willis is a shot to be really interesting. He's my favorite. For the short term, at least, maybe not long term in Dynasty, but I wanted to diversify a little bit because I have a lot of older players, but then I want to have some backfill for the next 2 or 3 years as well. So that's what I was looking at there. And I really wanted Spiller, and Josh took him. So
you guys are just sniping each other back and forth.
Seriously, though, Pete, like I said it going into this draft, I was going to be sniping you, but it seems like it's been going back and forth a lot because every single pick, even the picks after, like right after me, it feels like you're taking the player, like the 2 I was debating between. I was debating between Spiller and London right there. And then I was considering Malik Willis. I was considering Saquon. I was like all the guys you drafted, I was considering, and we were right next to each other. So
it's been brutal.
Kind of the same for Joey.
Yeah.
Z2, you're saying, I think the average age of my team is 23. I was just looking at you do have a very young team.
I think it's younger than that. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at it right now. Like,
who's the oldest player?
22,
J.K. Dobbins?
Like 0.7.
Josh, who's the oldest player on that team? Mr. knows all the ages.
No. Darnell Mooney is 24.
Who's the fattest?
Yeah, he is. I cheated. I clicked on it. He is 24. And I'd say Elijah Mitchell's 23 or 24. And then
I thought you were about to say, and I'd say Elijah Mitchell's the fattest. And I was like,
no, who's the fattest? Who actually weighs the most? Trey Lance. That's easy. That's an easy one. I think so.
Also some agreement.
No, Justin
in here.
Fields weighs more.
Oh, there we go. That makes sense. Mr. Scamper's Jay agreeing that Swamp's team is sick, and Jay while saying, it needs to go to the doctor. Yeah, absolutely, Swamp. Guys, I love the value on this Marquise Brown pick in the 7th round for the number 1 wide receiver on the Ravens. I think that's really good value looking at these other wide receivers going around him. Josh, look at all the wide receivers taken in that round. Drake London, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown, Brandon Ayuk. Which one are you taking first? Is it Drake London?
Yeah, it is. I've decided that I think Drake London's going to be an awesome NFL talent. I have a lot of trouble, like I said, with the top 3 wide receivers. I think Drake London's in a tier with Garrett Wilson and Burks, and where Alex got him was rounds after, or a round and a half after. So I think multiple. Yeah, so great value right there with Drake London. Marquise Brown, the only concern is that he, there was the concerns that he might leave and go start video games, right? I don't think that's the case. He's gonna start playing video games, start streaming, right? Streaming video games.
Turn on his Xbox. Leave the NFL in order to turn on his Xbox.
I don't think that's gonna happen, but just the fact that that's a concern, mixed with Rashad Bateman coming in there and looking really good to end the season last year. I still think Marquise Brown's the one, but I think it's a 1A, 1B plus a 1C with Mark Andrews, where Mark Andrews is the real one, right? So it's a tricky situation. So I wish we knew where Drake London was going to play. That's the only thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the wide receivers in this range are interesting, right? Like the guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cortland Sutton. We saw huge flashes from Amon-Ra this year, but he was the only one on the field. Joey, are you concerned that production was due to him being the lone guy, or did you see enough to make him think this talent transcends whatever pieces they add to this offense?
I think that his situation can honestly maybe even improve next year when Hawkins is on the field with him. I don't think it's a death wish once Hawkinson comes back on the field. I was happy to take him there. I'd have rather had London, but Josh, Alex, and I are just going to snipe each other all day.
Yeah. So you were also targeting Drake London there.
He was top of my queue. I do like that Sutton pick right after. I'm going to be honest. I had him further down than I think I might have clicked him late or something.
We saw it with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, right? Whenever they got the new quarterback there, I feel like everyone kind of hyper-focused on Robert Woods being the guy that was going to benefit from Matthew Stafford coming to that team, drafted him earlier, and then bam, it's Cooper Kupp, right? I think we can project who's going to be the guy for Russell Wilson as well. And if I have to drop
eating breakfast with Russ?
Who's eating breakfast with Russ?
Yes.
If my money for which wide receiver is going to finish higher next year would be on Jerry Jeudy, but there is a very real chance, much higher than 0%, probably closer to 50%, that it's Cortland Sutton that's the primary beneficiary here. So I like that pick. I think there's value to taking you talked about taking the second running back in Green Bay, Joey. I think there's value to taking the second wide receiver in this Denver offense as well.
Absolutely.
J-Wall loves your draft, Josh. It says, I don't love Josh. I typically don't love it.
I think that summed up exactly what I would have expected when I decided to go a little bit more win now. Typically I'm grabbing more of my guys, more of these younger guys where I can kind of build around and then kind of work from there. But this draft I did a little bit different. And, when you're grabbing your guys, not everyone's going to love your draft, but I'm smart. So, it would be a good team.
You know what, Crawdads? I actually don't hate your team. Earlier you said don't judge me. It's starting to come together. If Garrett Wilson pans out year one, this team looks pretty good. But there's an if. I think that rookie is your X factor here. You need that wide receiver to step up. Exactly. Like if that 5th round pick doesn't turn it on until the second half of the season, it may be rough sledding year one. And with the aging running backs you took in rounds 3 and 4, that could be bad. But again, if Garrett Wilson performs, then you're set up for success right away. I don't mind it. That's your X factor.
There's a lot of value on that team.
Those quarterbacks are great value. I mean, yeah, it's Dak Prescott, but then Carr, he's going to be at QB2. and until he retires, because everyone forgets he exists. I guess
at worst a QB2. Yeah, like with potential to be a back end QB1.
Every single year of his career since 2014, that's when he came into the league. He's been a top 20 quarterback.
Yeah, he was top of my queue, so I didn't think there's any way he was getting back to me, but he would have been who I selected there for sure.
I really like that Edmonds pick.
Me too.
The Edmonds pick. So Joey, to come to you on that one, how do you feel about Edmonds in Miami?
I think there's a role for running back in Miami, and I think Edmonds can absolutely fill that. What was that? Oh, who did it?
Was it
with the news today? I was really high on James Conner last year, but I think Edmonds fits in really well in Miami. Sorry, I got distracted by the board.
You're good. Alex, what about you? How do you feel about the Edmonds signing there? How does it affect his value?
I mean, I don't think it went down for sure. I think, it was a 3-year contract and they were paying him a reasonable amount. Usually that's a good sign that they're going to use him and playing for him. But I mean, is Duke Johnson still signed there, or was he?
He only had a 1-year deal, if I remember correctly. I think he was a free agent, but I don't know if they re-signed him. So I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm sure.
I have no idea.
It's going to be split. I mean, because Gaskin's still there and Ahmed's still there. Like, it's going to be a split backfield, but I expect that he's going to be the lead. Is Ahmed not still there, or Ahmed?
Ahmed.
I think Ahmed
is. I was shaking my head at something else. Sorry.
And then I know what about Philip Lindsay and
there's Amari,
Malcolm Brown?
I could see they're probably going to get cut. To be honest,
you think so?
I thought they were all 1-year stuff too.
My only concern is just this being a full-blown committee there in Miami. Like not just 2 guys, but we're talking 3-4 guys in a rotation if Edmonds can't establish himself as the dominant back right away. But he was good in this Arizona offense whenever he played. He was averaging over 5 yards a carry, right? Like James Conner I know he was the goal line back, but he was a little over 3 yards a carry there. So that accounts for some of that gap. But Edmonds is a decent back. He definitely has the opportunity to carve out that starting role. And JL, you got your quarterbacks locked up. Ryan Tannehill. Are you happy with Tannehill as a QB2?
Yeah, he's fine. He's a fine QB2. Yeah, I think he'll be more valuable than I think he'll perform better than he did this past season. I think having Derrick Henry will definitely help him. I mentioned this before on the stream, but I really hope they start passing those screens back to Derrick Henry. He can just start taking them to the house. That was really great for Ryan Tannehill's value. That was a good pick, Michael Carter. I like that pick.
Did you get sniped, Josh?
I don't get this. Like Mike Williams and Michael. I'm just so blown right now. Like the amount of picks that are getting just straight up stolen from me.
Alex is totally unfazed. He's like,
I had Michael Thomas at the top of my queue, so I was actually really angry. And I was like, I bet I know who Josh wants. So this was just
this is fake, yeah.
I don't even know what to do now.
Alex is like, if I'm suffering, we're all suffering.
Yeah.
Scott Anderson, countdown to Jake Trowbridge version of Miami by Will Smith, where Welcome to Miami is changed to RBBC Miami.
Oh, that'll be good.
Bienvenido a Miami.
Make it happen, Jake.
Can I say some of that Freiermuth pick?
Yeah.
So Pat Freiermuth is the one player with this Mitchell Trubisky news that I wasn't totally discouraged by, because Trubisky's best season he had was when he was really leaning on Trey Burton there in Chicago. So I think Freiermuth might actually have a really good season next year.
Oh my God, I forgot about Trey Burton.
Mitch Trubisky.
What would say?
Still in the league?
I said I'm so happy that the Steelers got Mitch Trubisky. That's perfect.
Yeah.
It feels like a perfect match, doesn't it? Like it just kind of
I'm happy as a Ravens fan. I should clarify.
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
I'm
just
also
not
happy as a
Mason
Browns
Rudolph
fan.
because I don't want to see him have a job. So
yeah, I'm with you.
Not just in the NFL, just the job period.
I don't think he should bag groceries. I really don't.
I'm with you. I can't stand.
If I see him behind the checkout counter at Hollywood Video, I am leaving right away.
He would drop your milk. He would put the bleach with the eggs. It would just be a mess.
Drop my milk. Where is he working?
Bleach with the eggs.
He's bagging groceries, Mason.
Oh, I was still thinking Hollywood Video, and I was like, they had milk at your Hollywood Video.
Oh my gosh, he would recommend the worst movies if he worked at Hollywood Video.
He'd be like, I know I recommended it the last 4 times, but the 7th Mary-Kate and Ashley movie is actually phenomenal.
Good pick, Alex.
Is that were you considering
Sharknado, ironically, but I actually just liked it.
Let's have some fun.
Hunter Renfrow. That's another. I mean, that's a value. I mean,
a lot of people are down because they're like, oh, once Waller's back on the field, Renfrow is just going to tank. And as my 4th wide receiver, I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't think Renfro's
ninth
going to
round?
tank. I don't think he'll be a
don't
wide
either.
receiver 1 next year,
No.
but I think he'll be a wide receiver 2 and a pretty consistent one. And in the 9th round, I love that pick, Joey. And you got 2 Clemson guys in a row, so I can't argue with that.
Oh,
Mike
look at
Williams
that.
and Hunter Renfrow.
I'm
But Mike,
playing to not get fired on the stream today.
Mike Williams just signed the big contract. Did that move
Yeah.
him up in your eyes in dynasty rankings, Joey, or did he stay
It-
about the same?
I
after
moved
that
him up a
news?
little bit, but it just made me more like I was very worried he was going to leave the Chargers. I was very worried because I really wanted Herbert to have both him and Allen.
Yeah.
And so I was really happy. And so Williams bumped up a little bit, but it just solidified my like of him. I won't say love, but like.
And Alex, were you hoping for that Williams stack? Was that a player that you were wanting there, or no?
Yeah, I had Cooper, Thomas, and Williams as my next 3 people in the queue, and they went 1, 2. Like I really can't. Like I was like, I definitely need a good wide receiver. Oh man, a Williams stack, that'll be good. That I'm sure one of these guys will drop down, and then they did not.
There was
Here I
there's
am.
a lot of
I was targeting Cooper. Is who I was targeting.
Mr.
I actually had
Scaverson,
Cooper
Mason,
second. Yeah.
after Thomas. So it was Thomas,
Yeah.
Cooper, Williams for you.
Yeah.
Thomas and Cooper. That's an interesting one to compare. Where you're taking those 2 guys. I think I'm taking Cooper, but I don't blame anyone for taking Thomas there. JL, would you take Michael Thomas or Amari Cooper?
That sucks. I don't like that question. I guess I would take Cooper.
Cooper. Yeah, I think it's close. Mr. Scampers, another valid reasoning for Mason Rudolph not having a job, said he would sneeze in your Jurassic Park popcorn bucket t-shirt combo. He'd sneeze in both. He would sneeze in the t-shirt and in the popcorn.
He's like, sorry, I didn't get it all.
We have a question here about the QB situation in Pittsburgh. Is Dwayne Haskins done in Pittsburgh then? Got him in a dynasty league, or is it going to be a QB competition between 2 former first rounders? Josh, what do you think here?
I'm pretty certain that Dwayne Haskins is not going to be the starter. I think it's going to be Mitch. Now, having said that, it would be foolish for them to not have some kind of competition and give Haskins the opportunity to win the job. I mean, Mitch has proven in the past that he can't do everything, right? I think Mitch Trubisky is a little bit more talented than Dwayne Haskins from what I've seen so far. So I think he's going to get the first shot. And so when it comes down to it, Mitch is the guy, in my opinion.
Maybe they sign Josh Rosen as well and just have a full-on battle between all the former first rounders. Alex, do you think Dwayne Haskins has a shot, or is he not going to be the starter there in Pitt?
No, I don't think he has any chance. And they're going to bring in Blake Bortles too, all 4 of them.
Oh my God. Bortles would, we'd win the job too. If they gave him the chance, he'd get in there and he'd be like, this is my shot.
So in a SuperFlex league, would you drop Dwayne Haskins?
Yeah.
Group. Yeah. I'm dropping
SuperFlex league. Yes.
If I need
In
to.
most.
Yeah. If I don't need to, I'm not dropping him just to drop him. But if there's a guy I want on the waiver wire, I've got no issue dropping Dwayne Haskins. He's like a long shot at best on your roster in my eyes.
I completely agree.
Let's see.
Michael Gallup going out the clock. He was there. I mean, he just signed a huge contract. He's going to be the new Amari Cooper, more or less, for this team, right? Right?
Huh?
Yeah.
No, I think his value definitely
I think it was a
went.
good pick.
Yeah, I think he should have been drafted before the 9th round. But
I kind of forgot about him, honestly.
You look at the other names around here, it kind of makes sense. Like Hunter Renfrow, Chase Claypool, Michael Gallup. I feel like this is it actually makes sense with the wide receivers going around him. It just seems really late for a wide receiver of that value.
Yeah, just in Dallas the next 5 years, Michael Gallup without Cooper. So I'm just thinking about it now. I haven't had time to really process where he fits into the whole scheme of things, but yeah, I think this is a good value. I'm probably gonna be drafting him higher from here on out. Now I'm thinking about
or Alex, we'll come to you first on this one. Michael Gallup or Amari Cooper? It's Amari Cooper for you, I'm guessing.
Cooper, and it's not close.
Okay, I wasn't sure how far his value had dropped.
Yeah, I think the talent of Cooper is not even close to Gallup, and I'm sure that's going to get some hate. But I think Gallup is an acceptable wide receiver too on an NFL team. I think Cooper is a phenomenal route runner who hopefully will figure it out with the Browns. Oh, I just talked myself maybe out of it a little bit.
You're like, wait, the Browns.
Yeah.
Joe, what about you? Do you agree with Alex? Or is Amari Cooper well above Michael Gallup in your rankings, or would you be taking Michael Gallup first, or are they relatively close?
I think they're relatively close, probably closer than most people for me. I'm notoriously low on Amari Cooper. I'm very wary of this move to Cleveland. While he is going to get the volume there, and that's certainly a good opportunity for him, I don't know that. I think there's a possibility it doesn't turn out the way that we think. I don't know that those targets are going to be that valuable, or that the volume will be at what we expect. So I'm definitely worried.
Odell Beckham, maybe.
Well,
exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly a perfect illustration. But Michael Gallup has concerns too, so that's why they're close.
Yeah.
I think there's a very real chance. I don't think the Browns should do it. I think they should go edge with their first round pick there at 13, but I think there's a very real chance they take one of these wide receivers. They take one of Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks.
Yeah.
Like if those guys are there, I think, especially with them letting Jarvis Landry go, that there's a real shot. That's their plan right there. We have a question in here from your average Joe. It says, I have David Johnson in a league. Cut bait or nah? Alex, would you be cutting bait on David Johnson, or are you holding on to him?
I cut him week 10 of last year in my Dynasty league. So I did not hold on to him, and I needed running backs in that league. I think he's done. I think he's one of those roster cloggers that's going to kill you. I mean, that's where I am. I literally cut him. So that tells
there you
what
go. He did it. It's not even hypothetical. Joey, what about you?
I just like the turn of phrase roster clogger. I've never heard that before.
Roster clogger. Yeah,
I want to start like my own fantasy football plumbing business and be like roster cloggers. I like it. Or I could be like clogging.
It's like one of those guys that like you feel like you can't cut, but they're never going to do anything for you.
Marvin Jones now on that same team. I can't cut Marvin Jones because like he could be something, but now he is just a roster clogger.
you need that plunger. Alex whipped the plunger out and got rid of David
the Texans
Johnson.
traded DeAndre Hopkins for him, so like obviously he's gonna have a role. I mean, traded away DeAndre Hopkins to get him.
Oh my God, I still can't believe that. Every time you say it, it just hurts a little bit to remember that trade. Mr. Scamper says, where are you drafting Will Disley now that he just re-signed? Josh, nah. Jail, what about you? Nah.
So, I'm sorry.
Nope.
He was still there.
I'm in I think it's a 34 round Dynasty best ball startup, and we're in round like 27, and Disley still hasn't gone yet.
Okay, so at least round 28, Mr. Scampers. Scott said roster clogger is a Ryan McDowell invented term. McDowell's been using it forever. Roster clogger.
That reminds me, because I just made me think of Ryan McDowell. He tweeted out like not too long ago that he just said Christian Kirk has played 56 career games. He's been a weekly wide receiver 1 5 times. Third highest paid wide receiver in the league right now.
That's insane. That's
times.
Bananas that they paid him so much. Jay, you are absolutely correct. Simon is a toilet clogger. It's one of my mini talents. I don't poop if there's not a plunger nearby, just in case. Mr. Scampers in here said Tom Brady was the guy. You fools! Was waiting to see how long it would take for him to get drafted.
That was a good pick.
That was a great pick.
Yeah. I would have drafted him. Good pick.
Even in a dynasty league, even if you're only getting one more year out of him, I think he's worth it ahead of where he got drafted.
Number 3 quarterback last year. So.
He announced he was going back to the Bucs yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that from somewhere, but thank you for confirming. Z2 said staying on this young train. Yeah, your team's pretty young. Now you got Devin Singletary, so maybe Mr. the old man on your team, Devin Singletary, him and Darnell Mooney are bringing the age up, but holy cow, that's a young team.
I mean, I much prefer a young train than an old train, personally. But
I don't know. You should watch the Train Show on Paramount Plus. There's some really cool old trains
I can guarantee you, I will not watch that.
How old was Thomas the Train? Was he like a toddler train, like kind of like Elmo the toddler monster?
Elmo the toddler monster.
How old is
he's a toddler?
Thomas,
that's why he's
a tank engine.
By his outbursts and stuff.
I think we need a birth certificate.
Thomas the Tank Engine turned 75 last year. He'll be 76
He's like
this
Bart
year.
Simpson, where he doesn't actually age.
I said 60 something.
I gotta make a pick here.
I don't know if they have ages in the show. Like if he's actually, I can't find anything. If anyone knows how old Thomas the Tank Engine is supposed to be, let me know.
I know one of you knows.
Someone in this chat knows. Come Here Now Beach 89 probably knows. The presidential trivia on Thomas the Tank Engine trivia, I'm sure they got it. Josh, Daniel Jones, is this just a late round flyer? Do you have any belief in him as the future starter?
Yeah, I do. I don't like admitting it. I don't like telling people that in public. But you asked me the question. I think it's a make or break here. I think he's got a much better situation. New coaching staff, got some gurus around him. I think he's gonna have a good year. Got to stay healthy. He can run. This is my last year drafting Daniel Jones.
And he can drop the ball. Tim says, who's going to make the stone cold best pick of the draft and snag Evan McPherson in a non-kicker league? That's really bold.
Can you put kickers in your flex?
I don't know. That would be interesting to just do that, kind of like in Scott Fishbowl this year, where you could play kickers in your flex just in a non-league. Scott said Thomas is a 15-year-old, I guess. And then he also said, never mind, after Cav came in and said Thomas is immortal.
Yep, that's true.
Yep,
that's
Thomas
true.
is immortal. And Jay letting us know he's a train. Oh, is that what tank engine means? I was completely unaware on that one.
Definitely,
Carson Wentz. Man, I feel like Arsenal's gotten some really great quarterback value at the end of this draft here with Tom Brady and Carson Wentz, two starters.
One of those is not like the other one, though.
Oh, Carson Wentz is not as good of a pick as Tom Brady, but still a good pick in a superflex league in the 11th round. I feel like getting a starter is difficult there.
That might be my
favorite. Is this a point
team
for interception shovel pass league? Because if so, Wentz is definitely.
I hate the shovel pass.
1-on-1.
Alex, did you say that's your favorite team? You think
it might be my favorite team with JT and CMC? It's really solid.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Good value on McCaffrey if he returns, and if Watson goes to Carolina, holy cow!
Also, a resident expert on Thomas the Tank Engine, Thomas the Tank Engine #1 fan, has let us know that Thomas the Tank Engine is 2. So that is fact. We cannot argue with Brooks on that one.
Thank you, Brooks.
Thanks, Brooks. I really appreciate that. Keyshawn Vaughn. That is an interesting pick. Joey, as a Bucks fan, what was that reaction about?
That's where my last pick was going to be. I was going to spend it on Keyshawn Vaughn.
How come?
I maybe with Brady going back, Fournette will stay, but everything I've heard is Fournette's probably still not going to stay. And I've heard of a few players the Bucks might bring in, and I think Vaughn could be any of them out.
That makes sense. I saw that Leonard Fournette deleted his goodbye to Tampa Bay off his Instagram. That doesn't mean anything. That's not official. I think maybe just leaving that door open now that Tom Brady's coming back. But
I guarantee he didn't want to come back once Tom Brady said he wasn't going to come back, and now he's like, okay,
maybe,
maybe let's do it. I'm in.
So now I got
to. How strategic of Tom Brady to drop that news right as all this free agent madness was about to go down.
And the March Madness.
I'm sure you saw the ball. His ball was just sold yesterday as well. Like an hour before he made the announcement.
I didn't realize it was so soon before.
$500K.
518,000 or 8. Yeah,
whatever. If you can afford to spend $500,000 on a football, you can probably afford to lose $500,000. Like, it still sucks, but
I saw somewhere someone was like, at least give him like Tom Brady's first touchdown ball next year, like or something like.
Just give him front row seats, and Mike Evans will hand him a ball at some point, a really important one.
For sure.
Without a doubt. Matt Corral. JL loves Matt Corral, right, JL?
Yep.
And then
Matt and Golden Corral. Matt and Golden Corral. Those are my two favorite.
Do you feel like you have some connection to Justin Ross?
Yeah, he's fantastic and handsome.
I thought that was John Ross. Huh.
Could be John Ross. I don't know. Is he still in the Giants?
Justin Ross went to Clemson, right?
He did. He did.
He did. And he was injured. Severely injured, like a really, really scary injury. Potential to never play again, but he's getting back to health, and I think he's falling down draft boards because of it. I think he would be drafted much higher if that didn't happen this past season. I love that pick, JL. I think he's going to be a value in drafts this year.
Yeah, who did go to Clemson?
Corral?
Probably a lot of people. I don't know.
You say a lot of people didn't go to Clemson?
Yeah, probably a lot of people.
Yeah, at least 10 people didn't. I know that for sure. Definitely 3. I can name 3 right now that didn't go to Clemson.
Name them.
That's about
first and last name. Middle name too.
Alex peaked in high school. Josh Fewinch.
I went to Clemson. I did my master's.
No, middle name's Walter.
Oh, wait.
Try.
Okay, so I can only name 2.
No, I'm screwing with you, man. I didn't go to Clemson.
You visited Clemson not
He's
too
been
long ago,
there.
right?
I'll be there next week, even.
Okay,
Yeah.
there
Wow.
we go. So you don't even count.
Yeah.
Josh and Joey are the 2 I can name. Josh,
My
through and
grandfather
through,
graduated from Clemson.
Well,
Stop
then that
lying,
hardly
Joey.
counts either.
No, he
Okay,
did.
JL,
Absolutely. I've seen
I
his
can't
ring.
name anyone. I can't name anyone that didn't go to Clemson. Not a single person.
See,
We got Vincent in here with a question for us. And realistically, I think the Colts will draft a QB. Do you? If so, who do you think they could get with their pick? Alex, what do you think about this one? Do you think the Colts are drafting a quarterback?
That's why I picked Pickett. Yeah, I
I
just
was
wanted to
ready
make
to
sure-
I was going to take Mitchell Trubisky with my next pick.
But do you guys think they could take a quarterback in the second round or trade up for a quarterback? Josh, do you think that's in the cards for the Colts?
They better do something. I mean, they traded away Carson Wentz, who was pretty good for them. If they don't have a semi-reliable, or a high draft capital quarterback going into next season, they effed up. It's as simple as that. Like, they effed up big time. So I hope they have a plan.
But maybe they don't. And Brady said, I see the Colts
Sure.
pulling a Ravens and moving up to number 32 to get a QB. If it works out as well for them as it did for the Ravens, then that's a pretty good plan.
That's such an exciting draft for me. You have no, like, watching that. I wanted Lamar the whole time. I wanted him at
I'm with Mr.
15 or 16.
I'm with Mr. Scampers. Get Fitzmagic in there.
Josh McCown.
Sure.
Josh McCown, isn't he coaching now? Not
I don't know.
not playing.
Two breaking news, sort of. Mo Alley Cox is going back to the Colts on a 3-year deal, and Colt McCoy returning to the Cardinals on a 2-year, $7.5 million deal.
Ooh, that makes sense.
I'll be on the
Boy.
show if you walk through here, hon.
He was serviceable as a backup whenever Kyler was out this year. I think that makes sense, locking him up a little bit. Who was the other backup that just signed? Oh,
It's
Tim
Arizona.
Boyle. No, that was the joke JL made this morning. Tim Boyle re-signed with the Lions on a decent sized deal for him, right? It's like 1.3 million guaranteed next year, something like that, I think. And we're on our last pick. Swamp went with Matt Ryan to end the draft, and Josh got Jimmy Garoppolo. Guys, oh, I pressed the wrong button right there.
We're
That is
back.
it for our mock draft today. That was a fun one. I feel like there was some interesting picks, and there was a ton of news over the past week that kind of really affected how these players are going. It'll be interesting to see how rookies change in value as we get closer to the NFL draft and then post NFL draft. But guys, that is going to be it for us on this Monday. Thank you to everyone that drafted along with us and hung out in the chat. And a big thank you to Alex for joining us on today's stream. Guys, if you are not already following Alex, go and do that right now. He's on Twitter at PeakedInHS_FF, or you can find him in Reddit at Peaked in High School. And then go subscribe to his Patreon, Peaked in High School, over there as well. I'm not lying when I say his trade charts are some of the best resources in this space for putting together trades.
Awesome.
It's unreal. It's just so customizable whenever you're going through it, kind of piecing things together. It gives you a place to start off of. I'm in love with them. Alex, I'm in love with you too. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Appreciate it.
I love
guys.
today.
Yeah, I feel it. I'm tearing up. I appreciate it, Simon. No, it was great. It really was fun. It's always good to
And
watch.
good team too. Good draft.
Guys, that is going to be it for us today. A reminder, if you haven't joined our March Madness contest yet, go and do that right now. You have to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and then join the Discord and check out the March Madness channel for entry instructions. Winner gets an autographed jersey, an FYF hat, and a Fun Friday guest spot or a 30-minute draft consultation with the FYF member of their choice. So make sure you guys get those entries in. Until tomorrow, though, we are out of here, everybody. Thank you so much for joining and drafting with us. Adios.
Trading makes fantasy fun. Let's go.
Bye.